Alright boys, we're back. As you can see, I moved, so got the new setup in here, but I'm gonna run through a couple things on the website real quick before we get our league started next week, and kind of go through some like teams that people have built in other leagues to show some examples of how to formulate some cores, how to use your mega points efficiently to really round out your team, and just kind of an overall, I don't know, summary of some of the other leagues here. So we got our draft order all set on the website. For the new guys, when we play our games, you're gonna basically go on to, let me show this on the left side here. So we have all these options once you log in. So you log in, it'll go to the homepage, it'll show you your roster. We don't have the schedule yet, but your schedule will be right here on the right. Along with that, actually this is going to be like your opponent's team, so it's going to have all 10 of their mons, speed tiers, stats, everything. Then your schedule, overall rankings right here. So on this left side, when you play your game, now I don't know if Porygon is alive yet. It's still not. It's unfortunate. Porygon's been dead for a while, but there's a bot that we have in our Discord that will automatically include stats for everything. So like if I was to go to my team, I can kind of show you what some of that would look like. Previous games here, I don't know, me versus Berg in season 1. So I upload the replay into Porygon and it spits out how many direct kills and indirect kills everything had. It also shows you what like survived and fainted. That way we can kind of keep a score and all these stats for the website. Like that's how we have all this for the all-time stuff up in here. But yeah, so basically we go to Porygon match import when Porygon works, and then you're able to choose your opponent. It will show you remaining opponents that you have on your schedule, so like you can't click on an opponent you already played or whatever. Then you upload the replay. You put how many left on your side, how many on their side. If you won, it's always going to be 0 on their side, unless there was a forfeit or something going on there. But then Porygon in the Discord will spit you out an export. And let me see if I can show what that looks like. Battle stats, yeah. So right here, like, I don't know, this game versus Ty versus E. Ty won 3-5. Oh yeah, this game went to timer. That one was so sad. But yeah, basically it has these spoiler bars that if you just click on, it will show you what they are, and then you can just copy it and then just put it in here, and then that will upload all the stats into the website. So the winning coach each week will put in the stats. Now if Porygon is down, we have to do this manually. So you just go to submit a match, and then you select your opponent, and then you'll have to manually, you know, select in whatever Pokemon there are. So I believe with this, if you put in your opponent here, your opponent's Pokemon will show in this drop down instead of all of the Pokemon in like the draft. And then on your side, it will also only show the 10 that you have. So it should be your 10 and then their 10, and then you just have to pick your 6 and put them in all these slots here. Once all this is done, like the winning coach does this, and then you submit it as a match right here, and then on my end I confirm everything so it goes up into the rankings and it's all followed and it's nice and smooth. So that's pretty much the big thing here. I have made a waiver wire form that it's like a Google form, and it's going to be linked in the Discord. So when we go to like transactions over here on the left, nothing's going to show up here because there are no transactions yet. We haven't started the season, but this will manually or automatically track everything that is submitted through the Google form, and then we're able to kind of update the rosters that way. But yeah, that's basically a summary of the website. It's super straightforward. There's a really useful feature right here, the search Pokemon tool, for when you're trying to like build your team or whatever. Move the camera over here so you can see this. So I don't know, say I'm really we're like 4th round or whatever, and I have a grass and a water type, and I really need a fire type. I'm gonna go into, I want to round out that core, so I go to tier 3 because I haven't drafted a tier 3 yet, for example, fire, and then I don't really care. Maybe I want it to be a little faster, so like maybe faster than base 90 speed. And then I submit, and then we see that we have Entei, we have Moltres, we have Ninetales, Salazzle, all in tier 3. That meet that speed requirement and our fire types. Now it will show you everything underneath that as well, along with like 2 weak Pokemon that are actually base 90 speed. I didn't realize Torcat was that fast. That's pretty crazy. It's way faster than Incineroar. But yeah, so this is a super useful move. Especially once you get later in the draft and you kind of like run out of Pokemon that you've been thinking about or whatever, and you're like, man, it's getting late in the draft. I don't really have a good Stealth Rocker yet for whatever reason. So in tier 4 you can look at and make sure you reset your speed, unless you want a fast rocker like Archeops or Lycanroc. That's not a terrible idea, but just to see all of them, it's like, okay, well, look at that. This is all just tier 4 from Steelix up. That's how many Stealth Rockers there are in tier 4. So if you don't have a good Stealth Rocker, you can find one later on. It's not going to be that big of a deal. But yeah, using this tool, you can kind of find something that really fits your team. Maybe you don't want an actual rock type because that's going to stack with like a Terrakion that you drafted or whatever. Maybe you just go with Druddigon for your rocks. That way you're not compounding weaknesses. Just an example, but this is a super useful tool. Now with this, there's Pokemon statistics, and this will only show stuff that we have drafted in our league and that we've used. So like if I go to Deoxys speed, for example, it'll show what games it was played in. It's a 25% win rate. It had 1 kill and 8 deaths. Now it will show common teammates that it's drafted with throughout other leagues. But yeah, it only is going to have stats for our league in this. So what you can do to actually see Pokemon stats, and this is something that's really, really useful for building like cores and stuff. I'll put the camera back up here. You just click on any other league on the public page on the website. So we'll just go to the World Championship. This is a pretty good one to kind of base a lot of stuff off of because all the coaches in here are really solid. And so what I'll do, I'll go to like their tier list. They do a point draft, so it looks a little different than ours. But I don't know, say I really want to build a team around, I don't know, Blacephalon. I click on Blacephalon, and I can see when it loads what other coaches have commonly paired with it, along with maybe realizing maybe I don't want to build around it because it only has a 47% win rate. It does have a fairly decent kill to death ratio, but you see if you have Blacephalon, a lot of people like to draft Ferrothorn. Good pursuit trappers makes sense. Good fighting types. Good fairy types, yeah. So you kind of like can round out your team based off of stuff. So like, really top tier Pokemon, you want to see what works with them and what doesn't. Now, if I was to change the CCS, this is basically like coaches' rankings on the website, and I made this like 1300. And I go back to, we'll do something else. We'll do like Azumarill 1300. Now, when you change the CCS here, you should keep in mind that the win rate is going to be extremely elevated because you're choosing it based off of better coaches in the first place. I think keeping the CCS at 1000 to see a win rate of a Pokemon is a really good idea, but going above that kind of makes the win rate less important because obviously if they have a higher CCS, they're winning more anyway. And it's same with like KD as well. But when you include a high CCS, now you can really see a good team to like build around. So you have Azumarill, Water Fairy type, pairing that with a nice Steel. That seems like a pretty good priority to do. Good Dragon types. Volcarona is really cool. because like both of them can kind of push past bulky waters together and really wear them down. You know, Trick Room option with Porygon 2. So, you know, you can kind of visualize what some plans you could make with like an Azumarill is based off of this. So going back to that Draft League World Championship page, I think this is one of like the most useful formats to kind of see what's good and what's not. So if we look at their tier list, they have a pretty similar tier list to us, with the exception of its points instead of tiers, but there's pretty natural breaks. You know, there's like mesh points essentially. So between like the 16 and 15 point is where we kind of have our break for tier 1 and tier 2. You know, a lot of these in, you know, this mesh point kind of can go back and forth. Like we move Gengar and Corviknight up, Heatran up, Infernape's in tier 2. Let's see, Slowbro, Slowking, Terrakion, Zapdos are all tier 2. So like there's kind of some mesh points, but you can kind of break it up like that. But based off of this, you can kind of see what they value is the highest. So like Gallade, they actually allow Latios Mega, Diancie, Charizard, Lopunny, Mawile, and Scizor. Those are like the top Megas, if you will, in their league. You know, I think the beauty of our league is we can kind of have a little bit more personal preference and like our own little touch on it to, you know, make it different than other leagues for sure. But I don't know, personally I don't think Mega Charizard X is on the same level as like a Lopunny, Mawile or Scizor, but maybe I just don't really know how to use it correctly, and you know, it's up there. I do think it's pretty much on the same level as like a Medicham for sure, but you know, Medicham I think is enough of a step down that it's actually in the next point tier lower than like a Lopunny, Mawile, Scizor. Yeah, just some interesting stuff with that. I don't know if their league is like, you know, a first turn Mega. That kind of changes some stuff, like that makes Garchomp worse, but you know, most of these you want to Mega on your first turn anyway. But yeah, so looking at this, you kind of go through what they value. And what I'll do is I'll go to like one of the drafts. We'll just click on this third one here. And based off of this, so this is the draft order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yada, yada, yada. So you can kind of see Dragapult was the first off the board. Makes sense. Thing's broken. Now the first Mega off the board was Scizor, and then Tornadus was taken at 3. Latios, Diancie, Gallade. So that's an interesting thing to note with like our league is like everybody has to draft a Mega, same with them. And if Megas start going, there's like that balance of, do you want to pick up your Mega right now or do you want to wait? Because if they're going quick and there's one you got your eyes on, you might just want to grab it. That way you don't have to like risk it later on, especially with like point totals. If you are really banking on getting like a I don't know, an Audino or a Glalie in the plus 60, or maybe you're looking for Banette or Camera up at plus 80, and you already are drafting your free slots with that plus 80 in total, and then those 2 plus 80s get yoinked before you can get it, and now you're like, well, I can't actually get all the stuff I wanted in my free slots. It starts getting a little risky, so yeah, definitely a little bit of a game we got to play with the draft like that. But we see like Megas are going really early in this league. Yeah, Rillaboom, Lopunny, Mew, Spectre, Mawile, Heracross. And this is a massive league too. This is an 18 coach. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there's 6 drafts of 18 coaches in each. Like this is an absolutely massive thing. But yeah, so we were in the 3rd draft here. What I'll do is I'll go to the ranking. And I'll go to this 3rd one. This is the Registeel division. And I'll see, okay, Montreal Scoruppies. They are nice with it. So I'm going to click on them and see what they drafted. So they took Gliscor, Jirachi, Buzzwole, Spectrier, Blastoise, Blissey, Dragalge, Venomoth, Ice Cube, Pincurchin, and Thievul. Interesting, interesting. So what I'm looking at right over here is the KDs. Looks like Spectrier, Jirachi, I mean Blastoise a little bit, and Ice Cube. Really racking up the kills for this team. This is really interesting. It's a very balanced build where you have like strong physically defensive mons like Gliscor and Buzzwole, and then very specially defensive mons like Blissey and Dragalge together, along with sweepers like Belly Drum, Ice Cube, like Quiver Dance, Venomoth. Now you can't Shell Smash with Blastoise, but you can Rapid Spin into stuff. Rapid Spin into Workup, maybe use 2 slots for that. And then Spectre, you know, sub-Willowing, nasty plotting, nastiness. That 145 base special attack, so yeah, very interesting. He didn't draft anything more than 17 points, correct? Yeah, and very balanced overall. So like, if you look down here, this will have a type synergy chart. So he's a little weak to fire, but that's mostly due to him having 2 lower tier weaknesses with Venomoth and Ice Cube. It's probably unlikely that he would bring both of those in any one week. You know, it's pretty easy to bring Blastoise along with Jirachi and Buzzwole, so Blastoise can sponge those hits for him. And depending on your opponent, maybe you want to bring Dragalge because they only have like a Chandelure or something, and it's like, alright, I just need specially defensive fire resistances and we're chilling. But yeah, so this is very well-rounded. Noting some of these resistances is important too, and like why it makes it a good team. Bug, Electric, and Fighting, those are really good things to compound resistances on. If your resistance, like U-turn is one of the strongest moves in the game, and you want to have as many resistances as possible. That way you're not getting overly chipped every time you switch in and they get momentum. Having electric immunities is extremely important as well, because something like a Regieleki, or like a, I don't know, a Nasty Plot Thunderous, let's see, what else is like mono electric that's really nasty? I mean, Regieleki's the main one that sticks out, especially if this is a league where they don't allow like Hidden Power Ice or something. Not that Eleki can get that, but like other like Gen 7 and lower electric types. But yeah, this way you're not getting absolutely blown up by an electric type, because, you know, you only have immunities, you don't have a single grass type. Yeah, you just have a dragon type. So, but important to have the ground types for sure. And yeah, this is like Lightning Rod Pincurchin. And then Fighting type. Fighting is a really, really useful offensive typing. And having resistances to that, given one of them is Venomoth. Other than that one, having resistances is really useful to something like that. Same with Flying. He's neutral to it because of a 4x Buzzwole weakness, but 2 pretty strong resistances. Pincurchin's really bulky, so yeah, so this is kind of what I do. I'll look at a team and kind of see how they've rounded out everything. They have a ton of hazards here. They got decent removal. I don't like Defog Venomoth because if you lose your boots, it's GG, but Gliscor is a really good defogger. And Blastoise is a fine rapid spinner for sure. Double Healing Wish options, that's really amazing. Decent amount of priority. You probably aren't going to want to run Sucker Punch on Pincurchin or Faint or Quick Attack on Gliscor, but Aqua Jet and Sucker Punch from Thievul and Blastoise are pretty sick. A lot of momentum, really being able to get like Specturian and absolutely destroy stuff. And as you can see, they won every game until they lost in the playoffs. Wow. Yeah, they were pretty dominant. But yeah, going back to like the draft for this one, just going all the way to the bottom here so we can see exactly what order everything was in. Where's it? Turn 18 right here. Yeah, so having the wheel pick, meaning you're either first or you're last in the draft, is really cool because you can kind of pair stuff up together. No, this is a weird example. I don't necessarily recommend a Celesteela Cinderace pairing. If I had the wheel pick here, I probably wouldn't have taken those 2 specifically. I probably would have gotten some sort of electric immunity for Celesteela, or I don't know. Weird pick, but these are very important picks. So if we come back around to like 36 here, Darmgaller and Excadrill, now that's a really cool pairing. That is definitely a cool pairing for sure. I couldn't do that last year when I had Darmgallon, or last season, because Darmgaller. Extra, I think, was tier 1. I think we had it up in tier 1, so you only have one of those, couldn't do it, but that's a really cool pair. Dallas Starmies, they picked first. So Dragapult, amazing fighting immunity for 2 fighting weak Pokemon. Darm can just get momentum for Drill or Dragapult. Dragapult can get momentum for either one of these. It's a pretty cool combo. Yeah, so that's pretty much all I wanted to cover here on the website. Yeah, I totally recommend going through all of this and just kind of getting an idea for what you want to draft, looking at some pairings, just looking at you know, what common teammates are for certain Pokemon, and kind of where to draft stuff. That's pretty important. I think learning how to not reach too hard in a draft. You know, I think I tiered everything properly enough that there's no like tier 4 that is just so much better than any other tier 4 that you need to draft it in round 2, right? Like, I hopefully didn't miss anything like that, but I think I tiered it well enough that there's nothing that's completely busted in one of the tiers that you have to draft super early, or else, you know, you're gonna lose out on it later. So yeah, just use this as kind of like a little background for it, and reach out to me in the Discord if you need anything. Yeah, I'll be back to making some videos for this season. Got the setup rolling now that I'm all moved in. So yeah, look forward to that. I will catch you guys around. Peace.